Welcome to the Freedom Education Movement last module of the free workshop, Measuring Momentum. So if you've made it this far, give yourself a pat on the back. Woohoo! Yay! This module is going to talk about how to celebrate learning and success without the standardized testing labels. So you're going to learn where to find your local laws, the requirements for your state and district, state standards if you need to follow those for your state, how to measure growth and gains, again, to meet the requirements of your state or country, depending on where you're at watching this. Plus, I'm going to give you lots of great tips and tricks on organizing all your data and resources. And again, there's so much more information in the Freedom Education Movement Facebook group. And if you go to the www.freedomeducationmovement.com website, I will also have lots of blogs. And then as we continue to grow on different social media channels, I will have links to all those on there as well. Here's our little minute think and write. You can get a piece of paper, or if you've been taking notes, you can write this in your journal. You can put this in your notes on your phone, whatever's easiest. But take a minute, and you can pause this if you need, to write down all the ways you can think of that you would check or validate that somebody has learned something. So obviously we know paper and pen test, but think about what other ways, in addition to like a paper and pen test, can you check or validate the learning of somebody or your kid. So take a minute to do that. Great job. So let's see if any of your ideas match up with some of the things that I've thought of. I have always been a little out of the box on this, and even when I taught in the classroom and with the courses that I've begun creating, the Mend Your Mindset courses, I'm a huge believer of offering a lot of different ways for my students to show that they've learned. I was never a fan of making everybody do the exact same thing. If we had projects or they had to show learning, I gave them a lot of options. So these are some of the things that I've done or some of the things that I know work. So have a conversation. Sometimes kids are not good test takers, or they just don't remember the very specific details. But if you talk to them, you know that they studied, or you know that they know the material. They just might be missing that one specific little fact. So if you just have a conversation, very non-threatening conversation, they don't even realize that you're looking to see what information they know, and they're just calm. They're not stressing. They're not trying to think if they're going to say the wrong thing. They just talk about it because it's there. The information's there most of the time. And if not, then you'll be able to really pick up where they're lacking and provide that information. You can role play. I love role playing. We like to do a lot of role playing, drama, acting out things. But you can role play characters in a book. You can role play acting out something they've learned, a skill, or there's all kinds of things that you can do for role playing. Portfolios. I will be promoting and teaching you guys how to do and create portfolios, because it's just it could be a portfolio book, paper book, or a digital portfolio where you just kind of track progress. So like in sign language, I always like to have the kids make a video at the beginning of class or before certain lessons, showing what they know or don't know or what their skills look like, and then again at the end or throughout, so that you can see that before and after progress of what they're learning. That's similar to pre-test and post-test, but a lot of times the pre-test and post-test are just kind of questionnaires. So you could do those on Google Drive. You can do Google Forms and just say, hey, this is just a little questionnaire on what you know, so I can see how much you learn after we're done and see where I need to fix the lesson, and put it back on you as a parent. The kids feel better about that. Like, it's not that you're measuring them, but you're measuring you. What did you present enough information for them? Did what they go over, was that enough to help them learn? Or it'll help you see where their learning gains were the biggest. And maybe you can figure out from that, oh, well, in this area, my kid really learned a lot and he was watching videos, so he must really learn better from videos. So there's a lot of things. You can use pre and post tests, just don't make them a big deal. Hands-on projects are great, poems and songs, videos. Let your kid make TikToks about what they're learning. They'll think that they're just making TikToks to teach everybody else, and you'll be, marking down, oh, look, see, my kid knows all about this. Look, they're making TikToks and teaching other people. There's so many untraditional ways to measure momentum. And I call it measuring momentum because it's a forward movement. You're making progress. You're moving forward. So I hope that helps. Let's see what the next thing is. Oh, fun. Legalities. So every state and every country has their own rules and regulations and laws when it comes to homeschooling. Unfortunately, some states are banning homeschooling, which is just, it's insane. I don't even know what to think right now, but I know there's some countries that have recently banned homeschooling. I want to say France was one. I know New York is giving people a really hard time. They might not even be able to homeschool right now. California might be not far behind. I don't know, but it's really bad. So it is important to know what the rules are for your homeschool. And then also, once you're registered, like I'm in Florida, so for us, it's pretty nice and pretty easy. So we can either register with our local district and then we report to the local district by creating a portfolio or having a teacher evaluate. I'm a certified teacher, so I end up doing that for a lot of people. I'll do an evaluation and submit a document that just says, I evaluated the kid, they're making progress. So in Florida, it's pretty easy. You can do it that way, or if you don't want to be tied to the district, which a lot of people don't, then you can go under an umbrella school. Like my kids are actually under Florida umbrella school, and it's just basically like a private school. So you're under their legal standing with the state, and they submit attendance records. So just saying, yes, the kid is learning every day. They're attending school at home every day. And so they take care of that. And it's been the best thing that we've ever done. So I don't have to respond to anybody. I don't have to deal with anybody. I'm responsible for my kids, but every state is different. Sometimes there's private schools, so you can partner with a private school. They'll send workbooks, they'll send whatever distance learning stuff through that private school, and then you report to them. And some schools are way more flexible than others. Some just want you to pay all the time for submitting grades and pay for transcripts and pay for all kinds of stuff. So you just submit your payments and they take care of everything. But you do need to know for each state. So that is a resource that I'm building. There are actually some people out there that have done a really good job with this. So I'm going to be pulling some of their resources and or guiding you to their pages. And then once you have your kids registered the right way, then you have to know what do I have to provide as proof. Like I said, if you go through the district, it's usually a portfolio or a statement from a certified teacher, but every state has something different. Some do require the kids take the standardized test, but there may be ways to opt out of that, or you just let them take the test and don't worry about it. Don't stress about it. There's nothing they can do. If I told you the statistics for what the public school kids' test scores are, you wouldn't feel bad. Okay? Just don't, because the public school scores are not pretty either. So I don't understand why they stress about the homeschool kids if their scores aren't up to par. But hey, that's just my own thoughts on that. So let's go to the next one, which is the best way to create and track progress for your kids. One of the best ways that you can kind of track progression and what I call your kids' momentum is through portfolios. So you can do portfolio, which is where you take pictures of what they're doing. I think one of the best things you can do is almost like a journal. So you can do a digital journal or a blog online. I will have a workshop on this. I will have it posted in my group soon. Actually, I have an old one, but I'm going to redo it. And I'm going to show you how to use like a website like Weebly. It's a free website. It's something that I've actually done with students previously, where I can go in and put the assignments, things that I want my kids to do. And then they go in and they do the work and they post their work as a blog post. So it's got a date on it. It's got what work they did, links to whatever their work is, and then they upload their evidence, whether it's just a short summary of what they did, if they have pictures, if they made video, and it literally tracks their progress through a blog. And you can keep it hidden if you need to, if you don't want anybody to find it. Most people won't find your blog. If you use something like Weebly, or my friend has a website called Usability that's really good, but you do have to pay for that one. But it's nice. It's real easy to set this stuff up. You can use something like just a Google Drive and set up folders and have kids upload documents once a week, or like a journal. You can use Trello, which is another big program that I really like to use. So you can do that. I'll show you guys some more ways to do portfolios. You could just go ahead and opt them into the standardized test if you have a kid that does testing, and they can take the test and it doesn't bother them, use the standardized test. Or you could do the teacher evaluations. However that works for you, you can do that and follow the requirements for your state. Whatever you decide to do to measure their momentum, I still think you should document it. It's an adventure. Document. Again, you can do a binder. You could do like a 3-ring binder where you print things out and put it in. You can make it like a scrapbook. It's something you guys could do together. You could do videos where you have your kid jump on every day and pretend they're doing like a news story where they are sharing the news of what they learned that day, or, through TikTok style videos, however you want to do it, and just keep them all stored in one place. And then you'll have everything you need if somebody comes along and says, hey, we want to know that your kid's really learning. So you can be like, oh, well, let me show you. And you'll have all this documented stuff. If you like to do paper and pen and you do a bunch of stuff, it's really hard to keep that stuff for a long time. So take a picture of it and upload it and put it somewhere. And you can even do a digital scrapbook if you want. Like every day, go in there and do a digital scrapbook and take a picture. Or if you have a paper scrapbook, then, pick your best work for the week and put it in and make some pages. So there's lots of ways to document and make your learning fun. So I think my number one tip is when you're organizing, try to keep it simple and plan and document in the same space. Like I was saying, if you want to use like a website, you could go on and use a blog thing. You could create your lessons for the week and have dates on there, or you can have it set up on a blog. Then your child goes in on that blog, works through it, and posts their learning the same way. Again, I'll have a training tutorial on how to do that in the group soon. You could do that. You could use Trello, where you go in and you do your planning in Trello. Trello is like a sticky board, a digital sticky board. So instead of having sticky notes up on your wall, different colors that you move around based on what you're doing, it's little sticky notes in digital format. And you can go in and add a lot more notes than you can fit on a regular sticky note. But you can move it around and organize it. So you can organize and plan, but you can also track your kids' learning and measure their momentum that way. You can do it in Google Drive. So I suggest you always do your planning and your documenting in the same space. You don't want to go plan in Trello and then have a digital portfolio somewhere else that you're doing. You can do that if you want to keep track of it, but it's just easier. That's just my suggestion. My next tip or suggestion for measuring momentum is to switch it up. So some subjects or some topics that you're going to cover, maybe a presentation or a conversation is going to be a really good way for them to show you. But maybe if your kid's learning about cars and fluids in the cars and how different pieces work, and the best thing that they can do is hands-on, like take the car apart and they have to put it back together, or they have to measure how much fluid has to go in, how much oil, the quarts, but you're going to give it to them in gallons or whatever it is. So there's different subjects and different topics and different times you will need to do different methods of measuring that momentum. So it's okay. Do different things. It doesn't need to all be the same. I don't know, in the schools, they just like everything to be paper and pen tests. They tell the teachers, you must differentiate the teaching, and these ESC kids, they require all these accommodations. But then when it comes to testing, we don't provide accommodations other than more time. But we don't give these kids other ways to prove their learning. It's really, really ridiculous, and I really don't understand how we just keep letting them say that this is the right way when we know it's not. So you don't have to be that way. You can switch it up, and I highly suggest that you do. And my last tip is just to really just be preemptive instead of reactive. So learn as you're in this phase of trying to learn everything. Learn what your local laws and regulations are so that you don't get caught off guard. And like I said in previous workshop classes, you should really, really join groups, like create a community, find your niche, find your style of teaching and learning that's going to work for your family, and join groups or join local state homeschooling groups so that you can stay on top of what's going on and what you need to do. Because the last thing you want is to be cruising along and you're homeschooling or unschooling and you think life is great, and then you get a letter in the mail that says, you have an appointment next Thursday at 2:00 at the district office with the portfolio of your child. And you're like, what? I don't have a portfolio. Or I didn't know I had to report to the district. So just make sure that you stay on top of whatever it is that you need to be doing so that you don't have to react and get stressed out. So that's my last suggestion. And you know I can't end it without saying it. You've got this. You've got it. You can do it. Like, just go out there. It cannot be any worse than what they're getting in the public school system right now. And I hate to say that because there are some fantastic teachers and administrators. And then there are some really not good ones that need to retire or go find other jobs or whatever. But honestly, it's heartbreaking because the good ones are stuck in a system, in a systematic process that they don't have any control over, and it's not fair to them and it's not fair to your kids. So you can't change that. I can't change that. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. That is why I'm putting so much effort in trying to do everything I can to motivate you and encourage you and support you so that you have what it takes to break free from that traditional mindset and traditional thinking and provide something that is going to empower and lift, motivate, inspire, and just change your kids' lives so that they can thrive and become everything that they are meant to be. I believe you can do this. It's time to do it. Join me in the Facebook group if you haven't. Go check out the Mend Your Mindset courses if you're looking for something for you or your family. And I will be there to help support you and encourage you every step of the way. www.freedomeducationmovement.com is where most of my stuff is, or in the Facebook group. And then from there, you can link to the teachable courses or whatever else that I have going on. Thank you so much for going through the workshop. I hope this helped. Please leave feedback in the group. Please share this if you know people that need this. Share it in the homeschool groups because I really want to be able to help as many families as possible become everything that they need to be. And I believe this is the way. All right. I'll see you guys in the groups.